my name is Melissa Giblin, Director of North Carolina Center for the Book at North Carolina Humanities. The North Carolina Center for the Book is a collection of North Carolina Humanities literature and reading programs. Using a variety of formats and initiatives, North Carolina Center for the Book literary programs celebrate and promote the vital importance of books, reading, libraries, and North Carolina's literary heritage. We are excited to continue our partnership with Erik Jones and the Erik Jones Foundation to encourage reading. During a #ReadWithErik event on his Facebook page in April, Erik featured Charlotte the Scientist is Squished. You can learn more about Erik and his foundation by visiting erikjonesracing.com/foundation. With the fourth book in this series being Charlotte the Scientist is Squished, North Carolina Humanities is excited to have author Camille Andros with us today for an exclusive interview. Camille Andros is the author of Charlotte the Scientist is Squished, her picture book debut, as well as many other children's books. She lives in Chapel Hill, North Carolina with her husband and children. Camille, thank you for taking the time to be with us today. Let's get started. What is your favorite childhood book?
My favorite childhood book, you can actually see right up there, was The Little House. That was the book that made me want to write my own books. And I would pore over the pictures of that and the words separately. And I love that book. I love the feeling it created, everything about it. It's beautiful.
Great, thank you for sharing. I love how authors share with us, even after so many years, and I can remember my parents reading to me as a child and can still remember those first books. So I'm really glad to hear that The Little House had that much importance and meaning in your life. So that's great. What inspired the idea for your book, Charlotte the Scientist is Squished?
So I am the oldest of 7 kids, and my husband is the oldest of 10 kids. And all our siblings are married and have their own families. And then I have 6 children of my own. And so I thought it would be fun to write a story about a big family. And I thought initially it was about my husband growing up with 8 sisters and 1 older brother and what it was like for him navigating that. But then I was at a panel a few years back with a good friend who's also an author, and she said, well, you know, this is actually about you, right? This story. So, and she's right. I think it was Stephen King that said, you as a writer have a few different themes that you write over and over and over again. And I think I've realized that having my own space is important to me. And that is a theme that shows up repeatedly in my writing.
Excellent, very good. So if you met your character, Charlotte, in real life, what would you say to her?
I would say, thank you, and keep it up. You're doing great work. We need you.
Very good.
Yeah.
If you could tell young readers anything, what would you tell them?
Maybe almost the same thing. You're doing a great job. Read what you love, what makes you happy. Obviously, if you're doing homework, you have to read your homework, that's assigned you, and that can help broaden your horizons. But don't let anyone shame you about what you love to read. Books are books are books are books are books, whether they're graphic novels, comic books, whatever it is that you love to read, just love reading it. And that's wonderful. So.
Yeah, that's great. And thank you so much for shouting out the graphic novels. I think, in picture books and chapter books, sometimes the pictures that are there on the pages can help us really connect with the story and bring it to life in such a way. So it's important to get our reading and kind of go on adventures with pictures and without pictures. And kind of go on
for sure. Picture books are still my favorite type of book. That's my favorite form of reading, and I'm an adult, but I have a huge picture book collection. I never stopped reading picture books. I think picture books are for everyone.
Absolutely. So we love to highlight the libraries across our state. Can you tell us what is your favorite library memory, and or possibly highlight a public library in your community?
Sure. I love libraries too. So right now I live in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, in Chatham County, and that means the closest library that is my library takes almost 30 minutes to get to, in Pittsburgh. And it's a wonderful library. I love it. And we go there. And also in the other direction that's a little bit closer to me is the Chapel Hill Public Library. And I love that library too. It's amazing. I have cards at both of them. And I just took a tour of the new downtown Durham library. It's been renovated. It's beautiful. There are so many wonderful resources for the community there. The teen space is so cool. They've got like a whole gaming system set up there. It's fantastic. They have, I have kids with some special needs, and they have sensory stimulus rooms that are special for kids that love that input. They also have sensory like calming rooms so that you can go and have a quiet place to read and have things that are calming to your nervous system. And so I just thought that was fantastic. They've done such a wonderful job there. And then also, when I first moved to North Carolina, I lived in Wake County. And this is where my favorite library memory comes in. So my youngest was, I think she was about 3 years old. We were at the library. We had just finished story time. That was wonderful. And she brought me a book and she said, "Mom, you're going to love this book. It's just your style." And she's 3 years old. She was totally right. She knew. And I'm like, oh, I do love this book. The illustrations were immediately what pulled me in. It was a cut paper, really wonderful book. It was called Monday is Wash Day, and it was illustrated by Tessa Blackham. And I looked up Tessa and I realized we'd gone to the same university at different times, but I was like, oh, that's so cool. And I reached out to her and was like, we love your book. It's so wonderful. And then fast forward a couple of, well, it wasn't even a year, I don't think, but I was working on a manuscript about Eliza Hamilton, Alexander Hamilton's wife, and needed an illustrator for that. And so I immediately thought of Tessa and thought of that book that my daughter, Eliza, she's named Eliza, brought to me from the library, from our little library trip. And I discovered Tessa, and then we were able to collaborate on the Eliza Hamilton book together. And that came out, I think in, was it 2018? With Christy Ottaviano Books, and that was just because of a trip to the library.
Oh, so. How sweet. That's amazing that your 3-year-old daughter just thought of you and was like, "Mom, this is your book," and you had those connections to the illustrator, and then she came on for a later project. That's amazing. That just seems so like fortuitous and like what a wonderful connection. And thank you for highlighting the public libraries. I think that they're like books, really. Essentially, every book is different, takes you to a different place, a different world. And our public libraries are like that too. Each one is unique and special and offers so many great services to the community and so many unique individual spaces and experiences and programs and resources. So we appreciate that you love all of the libraries.
I do. We love and frequent as many libraries as we can. That's the thing we love to go do. Even when on vacation, we like to visit the community library.
Yeah, they're great. They're really backbones of the community. So thank you for shouting those out. Are you working on anything at present that you would like to share with your readers?
I I'm always working on something. But if readers like Charlotte the Scientist is Squished, they might like the other Charlotte book, that is Charlotte the Scientist Finds a Cure. And it's funny, I wrote it well before the pandemic. It came out before the pandemic, but the story is about a mysterious malady that infects the animals of the forest, and Charlotte has to find a cure. And her grandpa is one of those that gets sick, and so that means a lot to her. She wants to help him get better, and so she does clinical trials. She has to have her own quarantine, and so we talk all about very applicable to now topics, which who knew, right?
Right, yeah, and Charlotte uses those great problem-solving skills that she features in Charlotte the Scientist is Squished, and she's just methodical and really just, you can tell, loves her family, even if she sometimes feels squished by them.
Right.
But uses those problem-solving skills in a great way.
Oh, thanks. I love her. She's great. What would we do without Charlotte?
Exactly. Well, thank you so much for your time today, Camille. If you're interested in additional programming like this by North Carolina Humanities, please don't hesitate to check us out at www.nchumanities.org. Thank you again, Camille.
Thanks so much for having me, Melissa. It's a pleasure. Bye-bye.